Welcome back to the New Lighter Life Finance channel. Today I want to share kind of with you guys our journey using Velocity Banking. Before I start doing that, I want to kind of discuss how we feel about debt. My wife and I, we despise debt. We don't like it. We don't like the feeling that it gives us, like the feeling of being in bondage. My whole nature is to want to live in freedom. And financial freedom obviously is a piece of that pie of living in freedom. And so to me, freedom means having as much money as I possibly can in a savings account. It helps me with my scarcity mindset of being able to cover expenses that come up or emergencies that come up. I'm able to cover those and I don't have to go into debt for it. It means freedom to me means being able to take a vacation when I want to be able to take a vacation. That's pretty much all I care about. My wife, she likes to buy things. She likes to buy, kitchen gadgets and just different things. She's naturally a spender. I'm naturally a saver. But I'm kind of a mix of in between. I like to have money in the savings account. When it hits a certain point, and it's crazy because I don't even know what certain point that is. When it hits a certain point, I'll feel comfortable enough to go and spend money. So my thing is taking vacations. And so I feel more comfortable. I feel like I have the freedom to buy what we want to buy and to go to places we want to visit. So that's why we don't like debt. I also hate the feeling of buying something on credit and then not liking it or not using it anymore, but still having to pay on it. That, for whatever reason, that drives me nuts. And so that stops me from making purchases because I don't want to have that happen. There's nothing worse than the feeling of buying something on credit, no longer using it, or it's a consumable item and you already consumed it and now you're still paying for it. So yeah, that drives me nuts. But I asked my wife why she doesn't like debt, and she said she feels like it's a dark cloud looming over her head all the time. And so that was her reason for it. But in like 2022, we bought a camper. So we didn't have the cash to buy it, but we bought one anyway. And I'll tell you my process and how my brain worked through this to be able to actually go into debt. So we love camping. I know, so me purchasing a camper and never using it again and still paying on it isn't an option because we're going to use it. I love camping. So how I justify going into debt was, see, part of my debt dislike, or part of my dislike of debt again is I don't want to have to change my lifestyle. So if I have, if I make X amount of money and my expenses are close to what I make, maybe I only have $100 or $200 left over in cash flow and expendable income, I'm going to use those two interchangeably, cash flow and expendable income. If it's close within $100 or $200, that kind of makes me nervous because it's not enough cash flow. So when we went to go buy this camper, how I justified it is we get paid every 2 weeks. So we know there's 52 weeks in a year, so that means there's going to be 26 times we're getting paid. So that means 2 times out of the year we're going to get 3 paychecks. So all I did to justify paying for this or going into debt was I took those 2 paychecks that we're going to get twice a year, 2 extra paychecks. They're not extra, you're actually working for them, but how I justified in my head is they're extra paychecks. So then I took those and I divvied them up for 6 months out of the year, and that's how we paid the debt on the camper. So we went ahead and I felt good with that. So we went ahead and we bought the camper. I was looking on YouTube when I got introduced to Velocity Banking, and this concept sounded fun to me. I like finances. I love new ideas of how to manage money. I saw that it provided us a way to get out of debt and also to pay extra on our house without changing our lifestyle. And we still had the cash flow to spend if we wanted to spend it. So that's kind of a bit of a mind trick, you know. I know I'm tricking my mind into doing that, but to understand us as a family, we if we the cash flow we have, we don't tend to take it and put it towards debt. So like some people will go ahead and they know they have extra, let's say they have $500 extra cash flow a month. They'll take that 500 if they hate debt and pay it on the camper. So that cash flow with the minimum monthly payment they'll put on it, and they'll pay that off as quick as they can. But we respond different. I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that respond different to cash flow. When we see cash flow, I like to put it in our savings account. I like to have it there, build that back up while still paying the minimum on the debt, and being able to spend that the way we want to spend it. That's just how we work. That's how we've worked for our 22 years of marriage. And so a lot of this stuff with debt and with budgeting and with finances is recognizing who you are, and who you are as a person and who you are as a couple. And then setting up a budget or a program or a strategy that works for you. And so that's what we saw the Velocity Banking, and I thought, man, this is great. I want to try this, and maybe we can get out of this camper debt, which really wasn't bothering me. But I looked at it. I was more excited for the strategy of Velocity Banking than I was of getting out of debt. So anyway, we went through this company, which you don't have to do, but we decided to do it because we wanted to find the best bank that would give us the best interest rate on a HELOC. So we took out a HELOC on our home. So we did that. We got it all set up. And when it came time to implement the strategy, we had enough money in our savings account to pay off the camper. So what we did was, in our minds, again, what we're thinking, it's all about mindset and individuality, who you are as a person. In our minds, we said, well, shoot, we'll just take the full amount from our savings, and we'll throw it and pay the camper off. And so we did that. But our thinking was, oh, what about extra money? We don't have extra money. If we want to go on a vacation, if we want to do something, we want to buy something, we won't have that savings sitting there. And we had cash flow to make purchases when we wanted to. But so we paid the camper off. In our minds, we said, well, if there was an emergency or there was something that came up that we needed to get money from, well, we had the HELOC to do that. And we're going to go ahead and throw a chunk of money out of the HELOC and put it on our house anyway. So we'll just roll whatever money we need, if we need it, into that. And so that's what we decided to do. So the camper's paid off. We paid that off with our savings. We had a little bit of savings left, and we took a $600 chunk, $6,000 chunk out of the HELOC and put it on our mortgage. And then we just started to do the Velocity Banking way, which is taking all of our income, putting it into the HELOC, pulling our expenses out of the HELOC, putting it in our bank account, and then paying our expenses from that. We used a credit card. We put a lot of our expenses on our credit card, and then we would just pay the credit card off at the end of the month. And so we did that, and that took us about 2 months, and then we did it a second time. So we took another $3,000 chunk out of the HELOC, put it in our checking account, and then put that into our mortgage. And we paid that off. I think the whole process took us maybe like 3-4 months. And then we were done paying on the HELOC. So here's where we kind of went south on it. Well, we didn't go south. We just decided to quit it. So we put $9,000 towards our house, knocked it down. But our thinking after that third or fourth month, we're thinking, well, you know, our interest rate is only 2.25. And so it's such a low interest rate. And if we took that cash flow that we have, well, this is what we're thinking, we take that cash flow that we have and we put it in an investment, we can earn, even a low risk investment can earn 5%, which is more than what we're paying in interest on our house. So even if you do that, you have, if your interest rate on your house is 2.25 and you can earn 5% on your money, well, you're ahead 2.5%. So why will we pay on the house? This is just the way we're thinking, okay? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that look at this and go, "What's wrong with these? What's wrong with these people? They're crazy." Just, some people on the hate debt side will say, "Well, just get rid of that debt. That just pay down on your house." And then there's other people on the other side that are saying, "Man, that'd be wise to take your money and earn more instead of paying down on the house." It's just preference is what it ends up being. But here's the thing where we kind of went wrong is we didn't take the money, extra money, the expendable income, the cash flow, we didn't put it in investments. We just started stacking the savings account back up. What's that saying? It's hard for a leopard to change its spots. Well, we just kind of fell back into doing what we've been doing for years, just putting money in a savings account and then spending it when we want to. So that's kind of what we've done with it. What are the results of this? Well, the results are we have no debt except for the house. So we're still sticking to no debt. It took us 4 months to pay back the HELOC. So I imagine if we decided to pay off the mortgage, it would be relatively easy for us to do that. And just in general, I like the concept of velocity banking. I think it's a great way to get out of debt without changing the lifestyle. That's the most important thing to me and I think I would probably wager to bet that a lot of people out there, most people don't want to change their lifestyle. They want to be able to live the way they're living and pay off their debt. Velocity banking is a great way to do that. I'm going to be putting up some videos on the emotions behind money and some more velocity banking examples so that you can get used to seeing how this is done. So that's our journey. So I hope you found it helpful and valuable. If you did, only if you did, hit the like and subscribe button. And I thank you very much for coming to this channel. Have a great day.